Welcome back, 5th grade. We are on Domain 3 Poetry. Today's lesson is Lesson 8, and it's Traveling. Our objectives for today are to identify allusions and discuss their effect in a poem while also analyzing a character's actions and poem setting to make inferences, and to create our own original list poem. Our key vocabulary is veteran, a person who has been in the military. An allusion is an indirect reference to an outside work of art or cultural figure. So this poem is going to be about a man who keeps lists. It comes from a group of poems titled Poems from the Veterans Hospital. So a Veterans Hospital is just what it sounds like. It's a special facility to treat people who have served in the military. The poet for today is Simon Ortiz, and he was a veteran who was treated at a Veterans Hospital. So this poem is about an unnamed man, so we don't know for sure if this was about Ortiz or not. It might be just someone he sees. And the poem also mentions the VAH library. This is the Veteran Affairs Hospital Library. Before we get into the poem, let's read his biography. Simon Ortiz was born on May 27, 1941, and raised in the Acoma Pueblo community outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Ortiz attended both Native American schools, learning English as a second language, in American schools, including the University of New Mexico and the University of Iowa. He also served in the United States Army in the 1960s, facing much discrimination. He began writing seriously in the 1970s while teaching at different colleges. Ortiz's writing typically admires landscapes and nature while criticizing mechanization and industrialization. He often writes a simple rhythmic style on topics ranging from political problems facing the world to mythology and spirituality. He has published several books of poetry, including Going for the Rain and From Sand Creek, a collection of short stories, Men on the Moon, and a children's book, The Good Rainbow Road. He currently teaches at Arizona State University. Okay, I'm going to pause for a few seconds. Feel free to pause the video at any time to read through the poem a couple times. Okay, so where does this poem take place? It actually takes place in the library at a Veterans Hospital. How long has the man been there? He's been there all day long. And how does the man seem to feel when he learns that one of the books he wants is checked out? He actually looks hurt. How does studying Cape Cod make the man feel? He feels happy as shown by a faraway glee on his face. And what does the man put on his list? The man's list includes the names of places. So the poetic device we're going to focus on today is allusion. So this poem contains two examples of the poetic device allusion, which is an indirect reference to art or cultural figure. When a poet makes an allusion, he or she expects readers to understand what is being referenced. However, it's not always possible. So the man in the poem makes lists of faraway places because this helps him escape his situation briefly, because he hopes he can travel these places one day. So in the next activity, you're going to write your own poems about a list of important things. So first thing you need to do is brainstorm some ideas of kinds of important things you want on a list. So it should be a list of at least 10 to 15 items. So for example, it could be things that you collect, it could be things you want to do someday, places you want to visit, books you read, and so forth. And you're going to pick which one was your favorite. And then your assessment is you're going to rate your list poem. So there's a few prompts, and now let me move my video over. There's a few prompts that you can follow to help get you started. So you should have picked a list already of what you want to include in your poem, and you're going to write it down. Then you're going to use the line, or you're not going to use lines, you're going to use the assessment given by your teacher to write down at least 7 things you'd like to put on your list in your poem. And why are those things important to you? And you might want to think about why is that an important list item for you to write about? And then how does thinking about these items make you feel? So using the information, you're going to write a poem that describes making your list, what items are on it, and why it's important to you. And this will be sent to your teacher as soon as you are finished. And we will see everyone in our next lesson.